Islam claims the Quran to be the universal and eternal word from Allah, and as such, Muslims claim that it contains no errors or discrepancies. In fact, the Quran makes this claim for itself, since it declares that no part of it is at variance with another. Note, for example, what Surah 4, Ayat 82 claims. Do they not consider the Quran? Had it been from other than Allah, they would surely have found therein much discrepancy. However, in recent weeks, we have seen that there are, in fact, errors and inconsistencies. And now we will see this again as we begin to look at the internal evidence for contradictions. Today, we will consider Islamic teaching on fornication and adultery, both of which are considered sinful. Yet, according to the Quran, a Muslim man can take many slave women and know them intimately, with no legal marriage status. Why is it that under special circumstances in Islam, it's perfectly legal and acceptable for men to know women intimately outside marriage? How could Allah, who elsewhere deals with punishing adultery and fornication, allow such a thing? You see, certain ayahs in the Quran say that it is perfectly acceptable to Allah that a man may have wives as sexual partners and also have women as sex slaves. Those women who his right hand possesses. Please see the links in the description for the Quranic references to this. Surah 33, Ayah 50 and Surah 70, Ayahs 29 to 31 confirm to the Prophet of Islam that the practice of taking captives as sexual partners is blessed by Allah. For further context on this subject of taking sexual partners outside the bounds of marriage, you can examine the Sahih Hadith from Bukhari. Due to the graphic language, for the sake of modesty, I am providing only the references. Sahih Bukhari, Volume 3, Book 46, number 718, and Volume 5, Book 59, number 637. According to these hadith, it is not only acceptable to have sexual relations with captives, but it is also not necessary to take precautions if the act would result in a child. Why would Allah allow relationships in these circumstances when they would normally be classed as fornication or adultery and require punishment by 100 lashes or death by stoning if the act should result in a child being born? This dilemma raises a further question concerning the Quran. Was the Quran perfect at the time of revelation and somehow corrupted over time to suit men's sinful desires? Dear listener, since the integrity of textual transmission is one of the strongest claims made by Muslim scholars, how could this be? By way of contrast, the message of the Bible is clear and consistent, including its teaching on marriage and the roles of men and women in the believing community. God's ideal standard, as commanded in Genesis, the first book of the Torah, is marriage between one man and one woman. And this is to be for life. The man is to leave his parents and look after his wife for life. Indeed, Jesus taught that if a man so much as speaks harshly to his wife, his prayers will be hindered. Instead, he must be respectful of her needs and pray for them. And the Bible teaches that while Christian men and women have different roles, they are created equal in the image of God, and they are equal before God in redemptive value. Elsewhere in the Bible, we read that if a man so much as looks at a woman other than his wife with lustful intent, he has already committed the sin of adultery with her in his heart. This is God's standard for men and women. God sees the heart and knows all our thoughts. When we sin, we ultimately sin against God, who is holy and perfect. And God warns us in the Bible that all adulterers will go to the hellfire. So, what is the solution? To find out how God has made a way for hopeless sinners to be reconciled to himself, please listen to parts 1 and 2 in our 52 question series. Why do we need a Saviour? And what is the gospel? Until next time, may God bless you and may he lead you into all truth.